Hello and welcome to today's bone reading. So it is a little bit different. Bones, we have some different bones, different shells, and different crystals, but the reading will be pretty similar in terms of how it's done. As you can see, I'm using this is a cinnamon stick. I'm using a cinnamon stick as a wand. I usually would have my wand, and I actually do have my wand with me, but I just could not find it. So at the moment we have a cinnamon stick for the wand, but that's okay. So we have pork ribs, pig ribs, we have a shark tooth, and we have an ammonite fossil as our bones. I do have, actually do have a mouse skull here, but we're not using that today. It's cleaning a little bit. Shells, we have, I can't remember the names of them, but you can see them. You can choose them, just explain what you want. These are both the pointing shells. It doesn't really matter. They're both very similar in what they do. So you can just say a pointing shell. These ones, I can't remember the names, I'm sorry. We do have an obsidian spear, clear quartz, rose quartz, bismuth, bloodstone, lapis lazuli or labradorite, mookaite, and amethyst. So I know all the crystals today. But yeah, so if you would like a bone reading, if you're available, you're very welcome to put your name down for it. I may wait for a moment for more people to come in, and I might actually share the live. So if it buffers, Sarumi, yeah, you're very welcome to be first. I have my pen and paper ready, so we can have a list. So Sarumi, let me put bone reading. Bone reading. I think it's the 11th of February. So Sarumi, you will be first, and it looks like you're the only person in. So I'm just going to share the live to see if we can get more people in. It may buffer for a moment. Just bear with me. Okay, so you can choose the shells. So it's 2 bones, 2 shells, and 2 bones, 1 shell, and 2 crystals. That's how we're going to do it to make the readings as small as possible. So most people say they let me choose intuitively, but you're very welcome to choose. So if you're drawn to anything, please do let me know, and you're very welcome. Markle, hello and welcome. So this is bone reading, guys. It's just a different type of divination. It's not dark or anything like that, but it's just a different type of reading, basically. So Sarumi will be first. Sarumi, do you have any preference on any of them that I mentioned, or can I just go intuitively for you? Mostly I will be going, especially if it gets busy, I'll be going intuitively, just to make it quicker and easier. Marco, if you would like a reading, please do comment. Ella, of course. I'm just going to leave a little space in case Marco says yes, because they were here before you, but you are there. So we have Sarumi and Ella there. So let's begin with Sarumi. You settled down after 11 years of traveling. Amazing. The pointy bone, so our shark tooth, and you want a bismuth. That's great. So we just move the rest to the side for a moment. And bring those back. Oh, I'm sorry if I knocked that. And bring those back. Oh, sorry. I still need. I said 2 crystals, so you can have clear quartz. Oh. 2 crystals, 2 bones. So let's give you a pig rib. And so 2 crystals, 2 bones, and 1 shell. Excuse me, let's do a pointing shell. Okay. So there we are. So this is for Sarumi. Sarumi, these are yours. So there we are. So guys, if you're interested in bone reading, hang around to see how it goes, and you're very welcome to be added to the list. Please like the video if you would like to be added. Amethyst, you can change to amethyst, yes, let's do that. But yeah, guys, if you do have preferences, let me know before your turn. Um, yeah, so bone reading, I will explain it as we go because it all depends. It's very difficult to explain because it depends on the bones, it depends on the location where they land on the mat, and how they interact with one another. So it's a little bit, but it's always a broad reading. You can't really choose to have a love reading or something like that. It's always a general reading on bone because we never know where they're going to land. We can't make them land in the love section or the money section, you know? So it's always a blind, broad reading. But other than that, you are all welcome. So, Maria as well, if you would like one, you're very welcome. You probably don't, but if you would like one, you're very welcome. So like the video, comment if you want a reading because there is a list. And to be honest, you must comment as soon as possible. So we're beginning with Sarumi. Okay, so we get all of the elements that we've chosen for Sarumi. We hold them in our hands. We focus on this person's energy. If this person was here with me, they would be holding them themselves. We hold it above the yin yang, which is the centerpiece. We keep a focus on that person's energy and we drop them where they land. Okay? If they fall off the mat completely, they're not meant for you. But none of yours have fallen off completely, just some have gone a little bit far away. It's like the bismuth, if you can just about see it in the corner there. So, okay. So the yin yang is the present moment. It's the current chapter. As we head out along the ribbons, we're getting further into the future, if you will. You know, near future, more distant future, even more distant future. You know, like that. So generally, you might be having a bit of a slow chapter at the moment. That's okay. But when there's nothing in the current chapter, it can sometimes suggest maybe it's going a little bit slow, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, just an observation. So we have the shark tooth. So it begins in your advice and guidance section, but it lands in your love and partnership section. So you can see it's overlapped, if you will, between the two sections, advice and guidance and love and partnership. Now this is interesting because the shark tooth generally tends to be about a difficult conversation where you might have to raise your voice, speak your truth, be a bit firm, and even sometimes, very, how can I say, you might really have to put someone in their place, if you will, with the shark tooth, because sometimes it's like they're not quite getting it, it's not quite getting through to them, and you might have to be a bit sharp, like the shark tooth is. You might have to be a bit to the point and sharp and very decisive in this conversation. But it's very close here to our amethyst. It's nice that the amethyst is a bit further away into the more distant future because it shows that the progression from this conversation is actually going to be quite positive because this is our spiritual stone. It's in advice and guidance. So it means that you're taking on the right advice and guidance from your guides. So as you head out into the near future, you probably are going to have a difficult conversation, and it's probably going to revolve around love and partnerships, unfortunately. But you're going to listen to the advice and guidance of your guides. You're going to go with your intuition. You're going to do the right thing, basically. You're going to go onto the right path. So that's nice. That's a nice positive omen I shouldn't knock them. That's a nice positive omen leading on from the shark tooth. Now, we also have the pointing shell, which this is a bit more distant future, so do bear in mind, it's a bit more distant into the future, but it's spirit and self, and it's pointing to advice and guidance. So what this shell is saying is, don't lose this spiritual connection. Don't lose this connection that you're going to gain with your intuition. It's very important to you. It's going to really help you on your path, and it's nice to know that we're going to come to those kind of realizations on our own, if you will. So you're going to evolve spiritually in some way. You're going to take on the advice and guidance, go with your intuition, and this shell's just telling you to keep up doing that. And it's going to have probably a positive outcome on your love partnership because that's why these are so close together. But let's look at bismuth first. So your bismuth actually landed quite a nice way, is kind of how we want it. And this is in your social and friendships. So this is about leveling up in the social and friendship setting. So it could be gaining more friends, getting closer to the soul family, but can also be about networking, getting closer to people who you need to be close to network and things like that. So the bismuth going upright and leveling up can be very, very positive. So that's nice, and that can lead on to um, things like money and things like that if you're networking, you know? But our last one here, we have the pork rib, the pig rib. Okay. Sorry, I knocked you. I'm sorry, guys. And this is in home and family. So I was drawn to the small one for you. And what the small one suggests is that you are going to get what you want. So in terms of home and family, it's a positive omen about, getting this. Maybe you want your own house, or maybe you want to grow a family, or, something like that. But it's a positive omen about getting there, but it suggests that you will have the tools and things that you need, but they will involve other people. So the smaller pork rib is more about, you will utilize everything at your disposal, but some of those things will be other people's help. You will need other people's help. You're not going to do everything on your own. So accept help, delegate tasks, ask for help, to the people that you trust and you feel will help you, because you have everything available to you to build this home or family that you desire, but you just need a little bit of help. So you're not going to do it all on your own, basically. And that's all it's saying. But that's really positive. So maybe a little bit of discomfort in the love area soon, but it will progress more positively in the end, and leveling up in the network social kind of element, and then your nice home and family one there. So that was for Sarumi. So if Markle, are you still here? If Markle is still here, and anyone else who wants to be added to the list. So Sarumi says, I have a message written to my boyfriend ready to send. So that might be the shark tooth then. Maybe you're holding out. Maybe you do hold out on sending that for a little while. But if you're guided to, you must do it, because you are evolving spiritually. You are connecting closer to your guides. They are going to guide you. Keep that connection. Samina, of course. And we have Markle here. So let's do Markle next. So can I choose intuitively for you, or is there anything specific that you definitely want? So guys, if you're on the list, there's only Markle, Ella, and Samina. But if you're on the list, I'll go back over these, and if you do have a preference, let me know before your turn so we can get on with readings. Okay. So we have the ammonite fossil. It's like the shell fossil, We have a large pig rib, a small pig rib, and a, what was it with a bone? We had a shark tooth. I have a mouse skull. It's going to be incorporated, but it needs cleaning a little bit. So we have this shell, we have this shell, we have two pointing shells. They both do the same thing, these two. It's just aesthetic, But you can choose between those two. I can't remember what they're called, but if you say white or stripy, I will choose it for you. I don't know why I can't remember those ever. But the crystals: bismuth, mookaite, clear quartz, bloodstone, rose quartz, amethyst, lapis lazuli, and obsidian spear. Sorry. So yeah, if you're happy for me to choose for you, please let me know. All bone readings are general readings, Samina, but you can still have one. But they're all general. Right. Okay. So we'll do fossil, we'll do large pig rib for you. Let's do that. Let's have a pointing shell. I'll do the little one for you. Let's have this shell as well. Okay. And then, I've chosen two shells, so I'll do one. Let me remove that one. And we'll do two crystals. So let's do clear quartz and a rose quartz. Very nice. So we put the rest over there. Okay. Shruma says, I appreciate the reading. It resonates until the bone. Maybe it could be understood differently too. My message explained my thinking patterns and reactions for him to understand me better. Yeah, and the bone, if you're talking about the pig bone, that was very distant future. So sometimes when a distant future thing comes out in a reading, it can be something that makes sense eventually. It might not make sense right now if it was very far out on the mat. So let's do this for Markle. So we focus on your energy. Okay. So, unfortunately, we have a few things landed the wrong way. So, let's look at this. So, this is, of course, the current chapter heading out to the distant future, as I said. But this is for Markle. So, our first one is our ammonite fossil. Unfortunately, we did draw that the wrong way around. Well, like the wrong way, the way we don't really want it, you know? So, this one suggests, so it's in the advice and guidance section. So, what that means is that you're not taking the right advice and guidance. You might be trusting the wrong people, taking advice from the wrong people. It can sometimes be your guides. Sometimes it's like you're just not listening to the guides fully. Sometimes you might need to hone in a little bit more on the messages from them and things like that. So, I would just say be very careful about who you're taking advice from, especially as this is the most near future. So we really want to turn that around. We want to be, leveling up spiritually, taking the right advice from our guides and other people around us, knowing who to trust. So unfortunately, that's upside down, but you can focus on that. It's guidance, If anything comes up that's not perfect, it's guidance. It shows us what we need to work on. So the next one is the rib. Okay, so this is in the social and friendship section, and this is the larger one is more representative of you having having everything you need within you and being being able to utilize things. Generally, the larger one means being able to do everything on your own, but as it's landed in the social and friendship section, we might see it could be pretty similar to Sarumi, where maybe you do need a little bit of help. Maybe there is people whose skills and abilities or connections you can utilize, because it does show that you have everything within you. You have the ability. It's light. Sorry. So generally you have everything within you to be able to maybe level up in your, if you're networking, in your job role, in your social status, if you will, things like that. But yeah, you might need a little bit of help because it is in the social and friendship section. But you are resourceful. You will be resourceful, and you will you'll recognize when something's available to you, and you will take the opportunity. You'll take advantage of that, shall we say? So then we have the clear quartz. That's the most nearest future out of our more distant future stones here. And we have that in the health and well-being section. So there's some kind of clarity that you are gaining in your health and well-being. So it could be that you finally find the right medication, or the right holistic therapist, or the right whatever it might be. If it's acupuncture, Reiki, if it's herbs and supplements, if it's the right foods, exercise, or like I said, the right medication. But it's about gaining clarity for your health. So it's a very positive omen for health. If you have any ailments at the moment, it could be a very positive omen of being able to sort those out the best as possible, heal them, or maybe treat them, something like that. But then you also have the love stone. So the love stone is, of course, this is a rose quartz. It's romance, it's love, but it's in the more distant future, and it's in your health and well-being section, which can suggest a few things. So it can be that when you're going through whatever this is, where you're finally finding what works for you in the health and well-being kind of way, it can just be that you find a partner, or the partner you're currently with is very supportive on that path. Maybe they join you, maybe they diet with you, exercise with you, those kind of things. It can just be that. But it can also be, if you're single at this point in the more distant future, it can be a bit more like maybe you meet someone in that environment. So maybe you meet someone at the gym, or maybe you meet someone in like a running, group, or whatever it is that you're drawn to for your health and well-being. You might meet someone also in that realm, and your last one, unfortunately, again, not drawing it the way we want to draw it, because we want the shells to be open. We want them to be showing their nice open sides, but it's closed, unfortunately. And that's in home and family. So that can suggest that there's some issues underlying, something within the home or family that's been brushed under the carpet. So that can be if there are arguments, conflicts, things that need to be resolved in the actual family, or it can also be things that you may be ignoring in your home. So if you own a home, if you have a mortgage, if you have debts or anything like that, it can be kind of a guidance to not ignore that, not brush that under the carpet and think about that. But it just depends on how that resonates for you, whether it's home in the more physical sense or whether it's family in the more emotional and connection sense. But that was for Markle. So I hope you enjoyed probably your first bone reading ever. It was really nice to have you here. Do subscribe. I do tons of different types of readings all the time. Very likely will be a crystal ball tomorrow, which I know you guys do prefer. So let's see. Ella, are you still here? Thank you for letting me know what you want. Sarimi, good to know that I have security in the future. Enjoy your night. I will. Thank you. Thank you, Sarimi. It was very nice to have you. Of my choice. Thank you, Samina. That really helps. Ella, okay. Ella, lapis and amethyst. Okay. Let's move these away. So you're going to have lapis, amethyst. I feel drawn to shark tooth for you and the pointing shell. So we need one more. Let's do the fossil. Let's do the ammonite. Okay, so this is for Ella. Ella. It's nice to be able to catch you, Ella. Okay, so focus on Ella's energy and hold it above the yin-yang centerpiece. There we go. Okay. Okay. So none have fallen off. You needed everyone. If you cannot see, I will show you the shark tooth is just over there. So I will talk about the shark tooth in a moment, but it is just here. So your first one in the very present moment is the pointing shell. And the pointing shells always tell us what we really need to focus on. What are you not paying attention to? What are you maybe putting on the back burner a little bit when really it should be at the forefront right now? So you have the pointing shell. It's pointing to home and family, but also kind of pointing to our ammonite. Fortunately for you, it landed the right way. Very, very nice. Thanks. Hello, welcome. Hello and welcome. So that's, of course, that's a bit more further future. So we will look at that a little bit more in a moment. But in the current moment, you're being guided to focus on your home and family. What is it that you really desire within the home setting, the family setting? You know, I know I can be biased a little bit, knowing your situation a little bit. But is this really what you want in your home? Is this really how you want to build a home or build a family? It's just asking you to think about that, okay? So I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying you're being guided to think about it, which does kind of resonate with what we've been talking about, I guess. But you have the ammonite. So, well, let's look at the lapis first because it's more, as I said, it's more present. It's more near future. But it's health and well-being. So it's about conversations, communicating, you know? Lapis lazuli is a throat chakra stone. And this is all about our communication, maybe conversations that we need to have. Is someone or something on your life path not good for your health and well-being? We need to balance our mind, body, and spirit. Your body might be perfectly healthy, but is there a situation or person on your life path who is disrupting your mental health or spiritual health? Maybe. So it might be a conversation that needs to be had regarding that because, you know, I know, again, you know, I'm going a little bit into what I know here, but people can drag us down, and people really can drag us down, and you can have conversation after conversation after conversation. But the throat chakra is about listening and talking and listening, not just talking. And some people don't understand that. Is someone not listening to you, not, like, you know, living up to your what you've expressed. You've expressed your feelings already, I feel. And, you know, you need to have the very there may be coming a bit more of an in-depth and awakening conversation, shall we say. And it can, but it's revolving around something that's impacting your physical, mental, or spiritual health. So it's not necessarily on the wolf path like I'm kind of pertaining it to be, but it could be about something else. But whatever is disrupting either of those things, mental, physical, or spiritual, there's a conversation that's going to need to be had about it, and it's going to be quite a deep conversation. And yeah, but with the Ammonite being the right way in the distant future, it is a lot suggesting that you do listen to your guides, and you do take on board think your guidance, your intuition, everything like that. And you chose an amethyst, which resonating again with the third eye, again with our guides, again with our intuition, spiritual insights in the knowing and everything like that. But this one is actually in the finance and wealth section. So it might actually be very, very important for you to listen to the advice of your guides, to listen to the signs and synchronicities, because you may be being guided to a higher abundant path. And that's why your spiritual stone, your third eye stone, is in your finance and wealth, because you're trying to be guided onto a more abundant path, or your guides or your higher self, trying to guide you onto a more abundant path. So listen to the signs, listen to the synchronicities. Don't let your emotions or your worries or concerns or anxieties get in the way of what your intuition is telling you. But then we have the Ammonite that we've kind of glimpsed at a couple of times here in home and family. So it's generally the Ammonites is like a spiritual leveling up. I guess bismuth and ammonite are pretty similar in what they kind of, represent. But it is really about the spiritual leveling up. But in the home and family section, it can be about getting what you've tried to manifest, getting what you've tried to manifest in, like, if you are trying to manifest a certain home, location, place you want to live on this beautiful earth, things like that. You may be on the path to attaining your material desires in terms of safety and security. So cars, houses, things that really help on that kind of more modern day root chakra kind of energy, but leveling up with that, and the guides helping with that. So it's maybe you're getting some good karma in that realm, but it can be home and family. So like I said, where you're going to live, safety, security, home setting, but also building a family. Maybe you make the right choices on who you start a family with or something like that. But we do have the shark tooth as well, which has fallen a little bit further out. I did show it here in the advice and guidance section. So it's a much more distant future, but it's pertaining to a difficult conversation where you will have to be quite bold, be quite stand up for what you believe in, but it might not be the nicest conversation. You might have to be very firm, very stern, very really put your point across very strongly. If you kind of dance around the situation, it's not going to help. And you will know when this conversation comes up, you will know, it will be very clear that this is the conversation. You won't be doubting it or thinking, is this, isn't this? It will be very clear. But when this situation does arise, it's much more distant future for you. You probably think back to this reading when it does happen. But you're going to have advice and guidance that's going to be important. So again, it's all about this. You have that strong intuition, leveling up, and you have this the right way, which is nice. So perhaps when you have this advice and guidance on what to speak, what to say, what you do really want out of this conversation, and what you do really want out of this situation, you will, I think you will say the right thing, do the right thing, and stand up for yourself. It seems to be showing that way. But do take the right advice, be intuitive about where you take advice and guidance from, not kind of like blasé. Be very intuitive about it, and keep, you chose the amethyst, this landed the right way, your intuition clearly is intact, but sometimes maybe you're letting emotions get in the way of it, which is very common. I do that too. But yeah, so just be very clear and decisive, basically. Um, Solitude. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Well, actually, these readings are like totally free, so I don't know who I'm taking advantage of, but thank you for joining. Always nice to have trolls. Always nice. So, so yeah, so it's not, Marco, you're welcome. Goodbye. um, and it's not about love. So it's always a general reading. You can never choose where the bones are going to land. A bone reading is always a general reading. You cannot force the type of reading that comes out for you. But we are up to Samina. Do we still have Ellie? You're welcome. Of course, you're so welcome. Do we still have Samina? Because Samina, you'll be last. You'll be the last reading of the day. Thand, if you want one and Samina's not here, I can do it for you, but it may not be love. That's all I'm saying. Did you email me, Ella? I feel like every time I connect with you, you've emailed me, so I will double check that. So if we don't have Thand or Samina still with us, we can end there. Okay. So I probably will be on with the bone reading tomorrow, maybe a bit earlier. Love, light, and blessings. It was nice to connect with you guys. That did make it at least. Love, light, and blessings to each of you, and I really hope to connect with you soon. Samina and Thand, you can both be prioritized next time if you jump back in and realize that I've gone. Love, light, and blessings.